parents! Our children are out of control! This is what happens when toilet humor is allowed to run rampant!
That's right. Kenny set himself on fire because he saw Terrence and Philip do it in that dirty movie.
We must stop dirty language from getting to our children's ears! We must go fight the source of it!
But what is the source?
Oh, that's easy. Times have changed! Our kids are getting worse! They won't obey their parents, they just want to fart and curse!
Should we blame the government or blame society?
Or should we blame the images on TV?
No! Blame Canada! Blame Canada! With all their beady little eyes and flapping heads so full of lies! Blame Canada! Blame Canada! We need to form a full assault! It's Canada's fault!
Don't blame me for my son Stan. He saw the darn cartoon and now he's off to join the Klan. And my boy Eric once had my picture on his shelf, but now when I see him he tells me to fuck myself.
Well, blame Canada! Blame Canada! It seems that everything's gone wrong since Canada came along. Blame Canada! Blame Canada!
They're not even a real country anyway.
My son could have been a doctor or a lawyer, rich and true. Instead, he burned up like a piggy on a barbecue.
Should we blame the matches? Should we blame the fire? Or the doctors who allowed it to expire?
Heck no! Blame Canada! Blame Canada! With all the hockey hullabaloo.
And that bitch on Murray too.
Blame Canada! Shame on Canada! Oh, the smoke, we must stop the trash, we must bash the laughter and fun must all be undone. We must blame them and cause a fuss before somebody thinks of blaming us.
Hey everyone, it's the Koopa Man. Remember when everything was still fun and cool? Today we're going to talk about a phenomenon you're seeing a lot more of in recent times with the Goonergate controversy, but nonetheless it's harmful to artistic expression and freedom. That is, the moral guardian. Now I must stress this out of the gate. When most people think of moral guardians, they think of either one of two camps. Overly offended Bible thumpers from the deep south who end up getting caught in gay glory holes, or, beating their wives, or fun-hating, man-hating feminazis who want to censor anything a man might enjoy. While these two extremes do both exist, the idea of the moral guardian is not limited to one side or the other, and can be treated thusly as an apolitical problem. But Koopa Man, one side has institutional power and the other side is just a bunch of manlets online. While that is true, back in the 90s, those two sides were actually reversed. You see, that's the nature of the moral guardian problem. No matter who holds the reins of power, you will still see it happening regardless. And it's usually thanks to the people turning a blind eye to bad actors in order to regain those reins to begin with. Honestly, the way this has become an issue lately, I feel like I've become a machine with how much I have to repeat myself on this one issue. The issue of moral guardians or moral busybodies going crazy against people dates back a long ways. Heck, if you look back to the colony of Salem, Massachusetts, as we discussed in a previous video, Puritans within Salem tried to police each other into marching into lockstep with the flock, and the threat of the witch trials was used to scare others in line. Of course, by that point, the church had outright said that witches don't exist, but the colonists of Salem were Protestant Puritans, basically contrarian heretics. So of course they believed their neighbors could be witches, even if that belief was just to spite the papists. Even worse was when most of the victims accused were due to petty reasons to begin with, by even worse people hiding their own skeletons, as we discussed. And what's worse is the more things change, the more they stay the same. A lot of time when you look at those pointing fingers in accusation, they have three more pointing back at them. Like PETA, for example, or the People for Ethical Treatment of Animals. The mission statement of PETA is to make things better for animals, and fair enough, nobody likes animal cruelty, unless it's being done by the Muslim world and called halal slaughtering, which PETA never talks about. But the fact that they don't talk about true barbarism against animals is proof enough that they're, well, the same kinds of people who'd call their neighbor a witch in Salem for having a nicer house than them. PETA, in actuality, kills over 90% of the animals they take in. There are even recorded cases of PETA members stealing cats and dogs from children in public and putting them down within their vans. And most of their budget goes not towards animal rights, but towards promoting their own organization. And the few people who do believe that it's about the animals believe, well, really batshit things about animals, like how they should be given the right to vote. Though the vast majority of the organization are otherwise grifters in it to make an easy buck. They are, at the end of the day, attention seekers, as all moral guardians are. The main thing is about getting money and attention. Hardly any of these people care about solving the issues they claim to be about, and the ones who are genuine are usually fucking insane. Such as Jack Chick. Oh goody, more Protestantism. Jack Chick is an American evangelical, presumably a Southern Baptist, who wrote a series of comics he called Tracts, where he evangelized his personal brand of Christianity at people. Not to people, at people. Among these include his beliefs that missionaries helping the poor out in Africa are going to be sent to hell for believing the work of the church is more important than the work of Christ. Dungeons & Dragons is a one-way ticket to Satanism. We'll come back to this one. Telling your child that Santa Claus exists will turn him into a murderer later on down the line. That the Catholic Church is a Satanist plot. He is a Protestant after all. That the Catholic Church controls the media. Basically apply everything that Poltards believe about the Jews to Catholics, and Chick probably believes that. That Noah of Noah's Ark actually saved the dinosaurs, but they died as soon as they got off the Ark anyway. What? And that secularism, paganism, and neo-Nazism and Islam will all join hands in attacking Israel. Okay, he might have been right about that last one, but you get the idea. The main idea of the Chick Tracts were, well, to bring attention to Jack Chick's ministry based out of Southern California. And yeah, suddenly the whole thing makes sense now. God, that place really is hell on earth, capable of creating nothing good. But while Jack Chick was a real person, and a lot of these beliefs were his own beliefs, they were greatly exaggerated to bring attention to his brand. The common denominator of the Moral Guardian is attention-seeking, and how it always amounts to ulterior motives. Power, money, attention, and control. And sometimes any combination of all four. While many Moral Guardians are cynical in their beliefs and only do it for money or attention, there are also those who become radicalized in their own beliefs and become the worst thing of all. Or, to quote C.S. Lewis,
"Of all tyrannies, a tyranny sincerely exercised for the good of its victims may be the most oppressive. It would be better to live under robber barons than under omnipotent moral busybodies. The robber baron's cruelty may sometimes sleep. His cupidity may at some point be satiated. But those who torment us for our own good will torment us without end, for they do so with the approval of their own conscience." C.S. Lewis.
There really is nothing worse than someone who believes the evil they're doing is for your own good. They never do think past their knee-jerk reactions, and are usually the ones who enable such grifters to take over these causes to begin with. Like I said at the outset, moral guardianship is not a left or right issue. It's an asshole versus freedom issue. And it's one as old as time itself. From the satanic panic that claimed that Elvis, rock and roll, Dungeons and Dragons, hey, there it is again, and Jigglypuff were instruments of the devil.
Satan takes it quite seriously. Your children need to know there's a devil, and he hates them, and he wants to ruin their life.
To the more politically correct versions of those same issues, where things like beautiful women and fun are considered problematic and racist for some reason. And their answer is always the same. Scrub, erase, and censor. And it's always done as a means of asserting power, whether intentional or not. New trends and technologies are usually the first to suffer from this. AI, or artificial intelligence, being the latest victim. While I could go on a whole video in and of itself on AI, let's focus on right now the issue with the recent controversies around the character AI roleplay site, specifically the October to November 2024 case of a boy committing suicide. It is, of course, being blamed on the website itself just because it shows up as a frequent occurrence in his search history. Just like how with any mass shooter case, the moral guardians and media are quick to blame anything but themselves. It just happens that this time it's AI-based roleplay that was the unlucky scapegoat instead of video games. While I'm not here to point fingers at anyone, I should say this. The internet is no place for anyone younger than 18 in my humble opinion. And it should be the responsibility of the parents to monitor their child's internet usage. More than that, character AI should not even be a site that minors should be allowed on in the first place. It is ultimately the parents' job to govern their children. That is why we agreed to things like warning labels, child locks, parental features, and the ESRB ratings to begin with. Which, that last one has gotten a bit out of hand as of late, but this video is long enough as it is. Those things exist for a purpose, and when used properly, they're to prevent these things from happening. But they are not a replacement for parenting. And that really is the biggest moral guardian snake oil pitch of them all.
Think of the children. Won't somebody please think of the children?
Because the devil works in tempting ways. It's far easier to point fingers and do his work than to be a good parent and a good shepherd and to do the Lord's work. Someday people might wake up and smell the bullshit being sold to them as easy cures to their ails and actually take responsibility for themselves, their children, and their communities, rather than waiting for some huckster to offer them an easy solution.
I'm not moving.
Stand down, children. You can still see fart jokes on Nickelodeon.
No, this is about more than fart jokes. This is about freedom of speech, about censorship, and stuff.
What about Ike, huh, Mom? Did you forget that your own adopted son is Canadian?
I'm doing very important things.
But, Mom, you never took the time to talk to me. Whenever I get in trouble, you go off and blame everybody else. But I'm the one to blame. Deal with me. You keep going off and fighting all these causes, but I don't want to fight her. I want my mom.
Until that day comes, this has been the Koopa Man. If you like this video, please leave a like and a comment as it helps you with the algorithm. If you want to see more, be sure to check out my channel as I try to make my videos as timeless as I can. If you have other examples of moral panics and moral guardians gone wrong, talk about them in the comments as I'd love to see any I'd missed. And as always, until next time, game on.